in the middle. It's kind of like in the middle of nowhere. So it's in Richardson, but the
Yeah.
place doesn't get a lot of good reception. It's back where the warehouses are, and this little
Oh,
area where
okay.
there's warehouses. Yeah. So
Oh shit.
yeah.
Well, welcome back to the podcast. Hopefully we don't run into any technical difficulties tonight. Had to bring if y'all know who this is, I introduced him last week. I'm here with Coach Munir Benzegala of Spring Creek Academy. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? I appreciate you not butchering the name. It happens a lot, so I appreciate it.
I've totally revamped my logos and stuff on here too, so it actually I like it a lot better.
That's
Um,
neat setup.
so tell me, man, Spring Creek Academy, what was it like during the summer, and what's it like now?
Yeah, man. We went through a lot of transitions. Being that all five starters from that 2022 SWAC championship team all were off to college. So it was a lot of reloading. It was a lot of just working with a lot of the alumni as well. They played in the Swin City Pro-Am, so we got to retouch base with the guys who had left us in 21 and try to just retouch some things before they go off to college. And it was a busy summer. It was a real busy summer. I would say very productive. And then we had a couple of our kids go over to play in the FIBA African Championships. Max Njai played for Senegal, and then we had two kids, Yassine and Bilal El Shakri. Yassine and Abdul Wahab, both of them played for the Egyptian team, who ended up winning the African FIBA Championships, the U18 African Championships. So it was a busy summer, man. Everybody I thought had a productive summer. It was really busy.
And before we get too far into this, I know you've done this before. We're gonna do a lot of things that we did last week.
All good, man. All good. There's no problem.
uh, I like I like for my guests to kind of introduce themselves. So tell us who you are. Tell
Absolutely.
us your basketball background.
For sure. Originally raised in Columbus, Ohio. Played my high school basketball at Worthington Kilbourne in the Columbus area. Upon graduating from Worthington Kilbourne, I played community college at JUCO at Edison State in Piqua, Ohio for 2 years. Then finished up at the University of Tampa. During my junior year at Tampa, I ended up going over to the national team and playing for the Algerian national team for 8 years. So those were my the main stops during my playing career.
And so let's get right into my questions, man. Starting at a young age, man. What point in your life do you remember picking up basketball and being like, man, I love this?
So man, I was just a guy tagging along with my older brother. For those of you who watch our games, he's the strength and conditioning coach. You could probably tell by looking at him. He's got about 5% body fat. He's 6 foot, two
I,
hundred
ne-
twenty five pounds.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I
So oh,
never
you
knew
didn't know we were.
he was your brother. Yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
was your brother.
Yeah, man. So yeah, no, he's been a huge influence from jump. Being in Columbus, he was a Michigan fan growing up. I followed him all the way to that. So whatever
Oh,
he did, I really did. so so it just was picking up a basketball with him at the parks with his buddies, um, and then he made it very very fun. Being a creative older brother would just imitate different NBA players actually, and had a list of different guys that I had to play one on one from Charles Barkley to Allen Iverson and would imitate these guys. And at 7 years old, I actually had to develop a scouting report to
uh,
stop certain tendencies. So it's actually funny that we did that for fun, and then we're actually we're doing scouting reports and taking things away and all of those things. But I learned that part of it through just actually analyzing it as a 7-year-old for fun, and then
Mm-hmm.
it became something that gave me an imagination. I think a little bit more a very different and unique way of learning how to play. It was it was natural and it was fun, and it made me believe that I could play against NBA guys at the age of 7. So you can only imagine what kind of confidence that could build in a kid.
Yeah, yeah. Go out there and be Michael Jordan for me.
Right, right. And I would sit there and believe it. At 7 years old, it's like, man, I think I can play with these guys. So that
And
did
your
carry
brother's
on
how
into.
old are
Oh, sorry,
how
go ahead.
how much older is your brother than you?
So he's 6 years. There's 6 years between us.
Okay, so he was into like the Fab Five.
It's funny you say that because yep, he had the Chris Webber Michigan jersey, all those guys. Yep,
Yeah,
he was a Fab Five fan, absolutely.
that's
The big
cool.
shorts. Yep,
It's a
yep,
little different.
yeah, man, it's different. Yeah, these days it's different, but but
I was just
absolutely.
talking to a coach the other day about that. He sent me a video of him playing, and he was wearing those short shorts. I mean, this is probably back in early 80s, late 70s or something
Right,
maybe. I'm not sure.
right.
I hate to I don't know how old he is. Coach Ryan Cleve at Cleve Ryan at the Colony. Um he said, man, you could probably wear those shorts now because all the kids like them now.
It's funny. It goes full circle. Kids think they're inventing new
Yeah,
stuff a lot of the times, and it goes full circle, man. Just right back to where it
yeah,
was in the 70s and 80s. But I don't know how those
exactly.
things are comfortable, but if that's how they want to play, I
I
guess.
told him I told him I like when you get those old school referees and they're like, hey, you got to pull your pants down a little bit.
Right. You're like, hey, that's almost borderline a technical foul. You guys
Yeah.
got to get sag those shorts a little bit.
That's criminal.
It is. It is.
So at what point did you start playing competitive?
So I played middle school basketball, so 7th grade, 13 years old. Uh, and like I said before that, it was just the parks. And it was just, yeah, just a season, a winter season. Wasn't much spring and summer stuff other than we had this tournament. I don't know if it got down here. It was more of a Midwest thing called the Gus Macker. Shout out to anybody from the Ohio, Indiana, Michigan area. They'll know what I'm talking about. Gus Macker was a 3-on-3 tournament outdoor that used to be held in the Columbus
It's
area. I
like
don't know if
like we had the hoop it up.
okay, yeah, okay,
The
okay,
hoop it up. Yeah.
okay. So it was like just 3-on-3 outdoor. You
Yep.
know,
It used to be in the West End of downtown.
oh, okay, okay, exactly.
Yeah.
So same feel, man. Like obviously when it's 3-on-3, you only share the ball between three guys, so you get a little bit more chance to have the ball in your hands, and it's a good way to get play through physicality too, outdoor. They call less fouls. They're just trying to keep them moving.
Yeah.
So that was a really good experience actually. For 2 years, I felt like that outdoor basketball developed a little bit of grit. So
Yeah, definitely, man. The toughness that what like man, like the parks that I grew up playing at around here where I live, like back when I was in high school, like my old high school is right across the street.
uh-huh.
I mean, I still live where I went to every school out here, but like, man, at night, all the parks around here had people on them, and I mean, it was gonna be an hour before you got a game, and
Mm,
you're playing 4-on-4 on concrete. Now, I understand everything's come around now. They say concrete's bad for the knees and all that, but like, I mean, we were high schoolers playing with grown men outside.
mm.
Uh, and
And it's funny you say that about the whole outdoor thing. I do believe that there's definite proof and science to it.
yeah,
I'm probably living proof with the arthritic joints, but at the same
yeah,
time, you still see. I mean, I think there's just different issues now. I mean, guys are still getting hurt. I think you may see more ACL injuries now than you did back in the day. I mean,
You probably do.
there's still a lot of it's just it's kind of sad to me that that part of the game has gone away, because I think it brings a certain amount of competitive nature. You don't want to sit out because you got an hour wait. If it's game point, you're going to be getting hacked for a couple of possessions. And
Man, I remember there's a specific church down the street from me that built a badass full court with a awning over it, and I remember that we used to get the lights to stay on up there till like 1 or 2 in the morning,
yeah,
and
man.
and people would be up there
Yep.
packed.
Yep.
But it ended up, you know, some people can't take care of things that aren't theirs,
That's
and
yeah.
they ended up what they ended up doing is they would put it up during church hours and take the rims down after church.
Yeah, they ended up doing that at one of the parks that we played at. Actually, there was no church hours or anything. They just shut it down because it was just
Yeah.
it was getting maybe a little bit. You go from competitiveness to, there's that line that needs to be drawn at times, and I think
Yeah.
some of the neighbors and stuff like that, it got a little bit too rowdy for. But
Yeah.
it was from a basketball standpoint, it was probably the best environment to just allow it to get a little chippy.
Yeah.
You got to hold your own. You got to be able to, you know, argue what you need to argue and hold your ground, but at the same time, not kill the flow of a basketball game at the same time. So
See,
it was good.
and like Hoop It Up. I don't know what y'all's goals were like during y'all's 3-on-3, but Hoop It Up was like they had like so imagine like the pole in the ground, but it's a 2x4.
That's
And
exactly, yeah. So
and
yeah,
they would like fold down, like the whole goal would fold down and then fold up, and it was a wood backboard.
actually it's the same setup. The same setup. Yep.
So and if imagine getting fouled and pushed into that 2x4.
Right into the tuba. I've been there. Yep. And you don't have
Yeah.
much. It's not that much space between the
Uh-uh.
inline and all that. So if you're getting bumped in the air, yeah, you better be ready for that
I
2x4.
I do think that outside basketball built a lot of toughness, though. I mean, playing against folks that are older than you, like I'm talking about adults. I mean, 30-year-old men that think they can still make it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, it did build toughness,
For sure.
definitely.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's something
Um,
that would be cool to see, put back somehow for the youth. I think that would be a nice little movement to see some little outdoor situations for guys to
yeah,
develop, especially, I think the ages middle school, early high school. You're not going to kill your knees at that time. I think anything you do on
yeah,
concrete, you'll be fine with. So it would be good to see that a little bit, especially in the
and
summers.
and basketball's turned into like a year-round sport now.
It has. It has.
So, and that's why you see a lot of injuries.
And that's the thing, yeah. So
Yeah,
we've substituted one problem for another in that area. And
yeah,
I was a three sport athlete in middle school. I ran track and played football. I played football all the way to my junior year. And I think a lot of the things they actually really translate over from sport to sport. Certain things that you emphasize on the football field, um, obviously explosion for a track and field runner. Although there's different spurts, there's a need
mm-hmm.
for all of that. I think that does build a balance between one sport to the other. So it was big. I mean, football weight room was big for me on the basketball court, just in terms of being able to take a bump,
Yeah,
play through contact and all those things. You know, everybody loves to have
man.
a football player on their basketball team. So
I I started playing basketball when I was in third grade, and seventh grade. You get ready, you fill out your schedule. You want to have the same stuff that your friends have. So I signed up for football.
right.
I ain't never played football before in my life. And I mean, there's kids around here that've been playing since they were in first grade,
Hmm.
kindergarten, and we were doing some drills like in the first week, and my ass got lit up. And I told the coach, "Hey, man, I think I'm gonna go to PE till basketball tryouts because
Yeah,
this shit ain't
football's a
for
different.
me."
It's a different game, man. I mean, I remember my
Yeah,
first hamburger drill in seventh grade. I remember the headache, like especially the first 2 weeks of two a days where you're just getting used to getting a helmet on and hit again
yeah.
and all that stuff, and it's different. It's
Uh,
different.
you really have to be a different type of dude to. I mean, I congratulate all those dudes that are all and do it at a high level.
Right.
You got to be crazy to do that shit.
Yeah, yeah. I realized it by my junior year. I was doing it by my junior year, and I was at a predominantly football school. So, I was looking at guys, and then I think one of my buddies broke his collarbone, and I was like, I'd hate to get hurt playing football and then miss basketball. So I started realizing I actually
Yeah,
value basketball a little bit more, whether I was better at football or not. Yeah, didn't want to take that
yeah,
chance, man. So
yeah.
yeah, man.
I'm lucky to have never suffered any. The worst injury I've ever suffered is a third degree high ankle sprain, which was the worst pain I've ever
I
felt in
was
my
gonna say that's
entire
a bad
life.
one. That's a bad one.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I came down on somebody's foot and my ankle touched the ground.
Mm.
And I mean, 10, 15 minutes later, looked like a softball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Did you have the shooting pain from your ankle all the way up to your knee type thing? Like
I
it.
had a bruise. I had bruises all the way from my toes all the way up to the middle of my calf.
Yeah, that's a bad one. That's a bad.
Bruised.
That
Yeah.
that'll keep you out for a while too.
Well, okay, here's that story. I was supposed to wear a boot for like 3 or 4 months. Ended up wearing it for 2 weeks and going back out there and hopping around on one foot playing basketball.
Oh man.
And I mean, it still hasn't healed, and I mean, it still gives me problems. But
So if
that's my
any of you
fault.
young guys out there that are
Yeah.
listening, make sure. I know. Sometimes
Take care of
coaches
yourself.
take care of yourself, man. Take
Yeah.
care of yourself. You want you want
Yeah.
you want to fully recover before you get back out there. I know sometimes it's hard if it's championship time or something like that. Sometimes you
Yeah.
got to suck it up, but take care of your bodies, man. Take care of it. Let it fully heal too, because it will come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, it will. It'll stay with you for the rest of your life.
It does. It does. It does. Those.
Um
Yeah.
so at what point did you know that basketball could be something that could take you to getting a scholarship or playing at the next level?
So I started those conversations with my varsity coach, going from the eighth to the ninth grade. I remember talking about what I wanted to do, and my coach believing that I could be a college basketball player and have school paid for. So I felt very confident about it early, but really I didn't get recruited until high school was over, until by the schools that I wanted to consider. So I did go 4 years without a full scholarship offer until the summer of my senior year. But I think going into high school, I believed that I was gonna be somebody's full scholarship somewhere. So yeah, man, freshman year of my high school, but it didn't really become a reality till after high school.
And so after high school, you went to Edison Community College. You were there for 2 years. Played point guard, where you led the team to a third place finish in JUCO. Led the nation for most of the year in assists. Uh, Ended up being the school's all-time leader in assists. Talk about your JUCO experience and just a little bit about what it's like to be one of those all-time record holders.
Man, it was an amazing experience. Just how it started in the first place was um, very very interesting. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. August after my senior year, I was actually at home, not not going to school. I was like, I got to find a basketball scholarship. I am going to be on. I was literally last minute, just something is going to come up. And Edison State happened to have one more scholarship left. And they were like, hey, man, as long as you don't make any waves over here, you understand that you're the 12th guy given a scholarship. You're the third string point guard. I was like, just get me in the door, So
Yeah.
um, I ended up literally did not have school had already started. I remember it like it was yesterday because Hurricane Katrina had happened. I remember watching just on television with the head coach from his house because I actually had to stay with the head coach for the first couple of days until my housing got taken
Yeah.
care of. So Dave Zeller, rest in peace. He was coached there for I don't know how long. He was there since the '90s all the way up until I think he coached over 30 years. Great guy and great coach. He actually played behind Oscar Robertson in the for the Cincinnati Royals back in the day. So he had all kinds of point guard lessons, and
That's
so
pretty cool.
so what I learned in 4 days with him, just hanging out with them, and especially during Katrina. So during those times, people are often with wisdom or even more reflective and giving in terms of just understanding the situation of crisis, and so he was just, hey man, just giving me advice here and there on how to handle the situation, and there must be a reason why you came down, and you're the 12th man, but just hang in there type of a thing and just listen, you'll be okay. So by November, um, one kid is ineligible, um, and then I can't remember if it was one or two. There was another kid that I either ended up beating out for the starting spot, but by November I was the starting point guard, um, and just meshing with all these different guys from all over, and it was great. First year I felt like first year I earned coaches' respect and trust, which allowed me in my second year to basically handpick my teammates from my hometown. So I went back to Columbus, held some open gyms at my old high school, and really just kind of just felt guys out. And hey, what are you guys doing? There were some really good players that were just under recruited, and I was like, man, why don't we all go to Edison next year together? It'll be like a little Columbus. We'll build a little Columbus dynasty, and it was great, man. That was what led me to really being able to get all those assists because over the summer we were playing together, we lived together, we were like family. I mean, everything we did it together. So um, I would say that was a huge testimony to those teammates that I ended up having the opportunity to bring in, and obviously that itself in a JUCO situation is very unique for the coach to say, hey man, like you can bring some guys in. I'll obviously be the one to have a final say, of course, but they ended up being really really good, and our team had some success. So
It's cool.
yeah, man.
Um, from from Edison, you go to the University of Tampa, and then on to represent for the Algerian national team, where you led them in points and assists. Um, talk about a talk a little bit about playing for your your home team.
Oh, absolutely, man. Actually, I feel like up until 21, I was purely an American kid who
Hmm.
didn't really have an identification with on my dad's side as much. I didn't know Arabic. Culturally, I was more American, but interested in um, obviously Algeria. But I would only hear stories, of what it was like. And during the '90s, there was a really bad civil war, so that probably had a lot to do with why I never got a chance to go back during my childhood. So uh, it was it was a really neat. It was like meeting myself, the part of me that I didn't know yet. So like I kind of understood where my dad came from.
Hmm.
He grew up during the Revolutionary War. My grandfather was a general um, who fought in World War II over there, and also against the French during the Revolution against the French
Wow.
to gain independence. So it was really just like a historical. Before basketball, it was about meeting my roots, and that was
Yeah.
super important for me to go through that and see where my dad grew up, see where my brother was born, and because my brother was actually my older brother, the strength coach was born in Algeria. So, funny enough, the office where where I pick up my paychecks at is exactly where my brother's where he used to be babysat at. So when we used to go to the bank, my cousin who would take me over to pick up my paycheck was like, "Hey man," like one time he's like, "Hey, by the way, you know that this place is kind of interesting to your family for another reason." I go, "Why?" He goes, "That's where your brother used to get babysat when he was young." So it's just all it was surreal in that regards, and then to get to represent your nation, I'm proud of both, but being able to represent a nation that is your origin and getting to see that flag and have people like cheering for you and rooting for you to represent a country is like an amazing honor. So man, I couldn't trade that for the world, just having that opportunity to do that. And then on that stage, it's different. It's a different feeling. It's really brings humanity to the game of basketball. It makes you realize what a global game it is. Um, and hey, man, if I could do it again, it was probably one of the most amazing things that I got to do.
How was that opportunity presented to you?
So I got that idea at 16. The World Championships were held in Indiana, in Algeria actually qualified and played against the USA. I had no idea basketball even existed in Algeria. So by that time, 16 years old, I was like, man, this is an interesting concept. I didn't know there was even basketball over there. These guys are out there hooping and shooting threes from deep. I'm like, man, they actually play out there. So at 16, I was like, man, you're young, you still have aspirations of being in the NBA, even though you're 5'9". And I was like, man, if I can't get to the league, man, that is my league right there. So I made the goal by then that I wanted to play for the Algerian national team, and then by 20, I was selected, and then by 21, the paperwork was done. So at 21, I got to play for the senior national team, and in the Arabic Championships in Morocco was the first one I got to play in.
That's pretty cool.
It was man, it was awesome. And then you get, you just along the way, there's so many different competitions, and you run into different guys, play against some different guys. I got to play against some NBA guys. Sasha Vujacic, I played against him when he was in Turkey.
Mm.
Mike Taylor, who played for the Clippers and the Knicks. He's playing in the 3-on-3,
Yeah.
the 3-on-3 now. And we're shout out to Mike if he gets to see this. Mike is a real good friend of mine. We stay in touch, and we ran into each other in a couple of different countries. But um, there's Senegalese player who plays. I'm not sure where he's played for the Timberwolves. He graduated from Louisville.
Louisville.
What's his name? Dang.
Dang.
Yeah.
No.
What's
Gorgie
not
Jang.
Yes, that's it. Sorry, Gorgie Jang. Yep.
Yeah, Gorgie
Yep.
Jang.
Played against
Yeah.
him in 2015, and that was probably the longest 2-3 zone I have ever seen. It had 6'9", 7'1", six
God
ten,
damn.
and then a 6'8". So we're pulling up from volleyball just to get an contested 3-pointer. But that was a really played them in the quarterfinals of the African Championships in 2015. It's just great, man. You see guys and get to play against them in different stages, and then see them in the NBA. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So talk to me about, let's fast forward to now. or a little bit after you stopped playing pro ball. Um, what led you into coaching?
So my last year was brutal playing. I was, doing the whole injections to try to figure out how to play, and then after games, not able to walk. So in that last year, I started doing skill development while I was in Algeria. I developed a program now that's known as Bucket in a Dream here. I actually developed that in 2017 and 18 in Algeria when I started doing skill development camps and clinics over there. And the objective was just to place kids that didn't necessarily have a chance. So before that time, there had never been to play an Algerian born player to play NCAA basketball. Now we've had in the last 5 years we've had like six at least. I think maybe more than that. Um, and it's all due to just detecting kids over there. So what happened was at the same time, um, TRT Academy was setting up a brilliant situation, which is now the Spring Creek Academy, the educational institution. So TRT basically sponsored and fully put together the basketball program, which is Spring Creek Academy. And at the beginning of it, I was just gonna just find players, find student athletes, and help them to come over to this new academy. And then I kind of was like, I feel a little bit uncomfortable sending these kids without knowing what the setup is like. So I came to visit, and then on the visit, it just all kind of aligned when the director of TRT, and then meeting the folks at Spring Creek. It just seemed like the right time to make the move, especially with the kids that I had already um, been working with. I already knew there were 4 or 5 kids that were deserving of a situation like that, and I thought it was just the right time. Two brilliant ideas at the right time, especially TRT and the way they set it up. And Spring Creek as an academic institution has been around for 25 years, over 25 years, and all of that kind of came together just at the right time.
And so, talk to me about what it's like getting kids from overseas over here. As far as like, uh, I don't know, just talk to me about that.
So the process, there's the academic part, which is there's the interview, there's the transcripts. The beautiful thing is I only wear a basketball hat. So
Yeah.
the school has its strict regulations on how a kid gets admitted to Spring Creek. They keep a very high standard of what the expectations are, being at the speed and the level that the kids are being, taught. So they go through the interview process. Before they go through the interview process, I actually go through a little bit of screening myself so we don't waste the school's time, sort of a thing. So I get to kind of know a kid, see what his situation is, if it's even worth bringing up to the academic folks. And then they do a great job of of evaluating and all of those things. And then from there, on my side, what I'm looking for is, do they culturally fit in? And I don't mean that as in a way of race or ethnicity or nationality, because you could be from any part of the world. You'd be from right here at home in United States, Dallas. It's just about the way the program is set up. Do you value limiting distractions? Do you really value um, expediting your process of becoming the best you can be in something? And that takes a lot of sacrifice. And I think the kids that are 14 to 18, to take that humble approach, it takes a serious family, and it takes a serious kid too. So we go through that process, man. As a school, I think they're very aligned with those principles and values. So it goes. We're both very much on the same page.
What are those conversations like with the families?
So it's it can be very tough. because
Yeah.
the sacrifice of time I take very seriously. I myself have spent some time without my little ones to do what I can for the program. So the sacrifice I've felt, I feel their pain, um, and really we just try to focus on long term. Okay, so this is
Mhm.
a situation, especially in a lot of for a lot of families that can create generational change. The first uh,
Yeah.
college graduate for a family. Um,
Mhm.
do you okay? So what do you want? Is really, do you want to see your kid have the opportunity to do something that he most likely won't be able to achieve? So we're looking at
And while
underdogs.
while while we're talking about this, I want to bring up Big
Sure.
Z because Big Z is one of those dudes that has a chance to like make some money.
Yeah, yeah. Big Z is it's a funny one. Funny you bring up parents too, because the guy who introduced me to the idea of bringing Z over, the first conversation, he's like, "Yeah, there's this kid. He's can't walk and chew gum, but he's got something." So I was like, "Let me see him." He's 14 at the time, and I talked to dad, and dad's kind of like, "I don't know if I can send my kid over there." And then we just talked about what his life would be like if he doesn't come to the United States, and what it's going to have the opportunity to be like. No guarantees, but outside of injury or, God forbid, something else that we just can't predict, if the kid just works every day as hard as he possibly can, limits distractions, he's probably going to
Mhm.
have a chance. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, the kid worked and he continues to work. He's gonna fight through struggle, and those are the kind of things that I think are more important than just the natural ability. So he's climbed. I think he's climbed a ladder, and he's got a chance to keep doing that because he's started at pretty much from scratch when it comes to basketball. He started playing basketball at like 13.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just like a year before I even saw him for the first time.
Yeah.
And he picked it up pretty naturally, and takes that passion. I think those are the kids that really have a chance as long as they continue to stay humble and just keep staying hungry. You know.
Yeah. And so you're taking how many guys do you hold on your team? 10, 12?
So right now we currently have 12. We can vary between 12 and 15, just depending on how the setup is. This year, right now we have 12, but we
And
have we have room for 15.
you're taking those guys, everybody from a different ethnicity, different backgrounds, and and you're asking all of them to live with each other.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually it's a cultural exchange, man. They
Yeah.
learn how to cook. They start their day by straightening their beds. They become very attentive towards things that the normal 14 to 18-year-old may not necessarily get the chance
Yeah.
to think about. So I'll give you an example. When you got 12 kids, and they got to share electricity, showers, and all
Not
those
12
things.
kids, 12 boys.
Yeah, big boys, right?
Big
So
boys.
they become very mindful of the way they share their space. It builds chemistry. They problem solve. They're forced to communicate,
Hmm.
and kind of be well beyond their years, responsible for themselves. So the goal is, by the time they get to college, they're probably not like the rest of their college teammates, and they have a certain uh, habits that will just be able to piece away at things and limit distractions, and be kind of take the humble approach, and you know that be mindful and thoughtful of every situation, and thankful for what they have. So
Yeah, and like how many guys do you have playing at the next level right now? Since
uh
since since like you started there.
So every graduate is playing college basketball except with the exception of one who's actually injured right now, and there's another one who decided to go in a different route. He played at UTA last year, but he's more now geared towards his academics. He's in engineering right now. So we're talking out of 14 graduates, 12 are playing college basketball.
That's good.
Yep. So yeah, because our first year we didn't have any graduates. We were all it was a young team.
Okay.
So year one, year two was our first batch of graduates, and we've got 15 because it's been 5 or 6 every year. Got to do the math on it, but we have around 16 kids that have graduated from our program, and 14 that are currently playing. Actually, now that I think about it, yep.
And the other thing that I was gonna ask. So these kids, if they're not from here, I know like Nazar. Nazar came in this year. He's from Houston area, Cyprus or something like that.
Austin area,
Austin,
yeah,
Austin.
yeah.
Okay, he's from Austin. You had a kid from S- South Texas also last year, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
Joey Ramirez, and he was
Joey.
from a little bit outside of the Houston area, Weimar, Texas. Yep.
Yeah. Um, outside of kids like that don't have parents here, what are they doing like during the summer? Does everybody still live in that? Does everybody still live with each other? Or how's that work?
So through the 4 years that we've had the housing open during the summer, so there was a really cool cultural exchange between the alumni and the newcomers. So we do encourage, man, like the sooner the better. The more time you get in here, the more you're going to gain.
Yeah,
Access to facilities, the opportunity to play with alumni. So when the alumni came back, they really kind of did a good transfer of what we want the program to be about and the intensity level that you have to be at to be to build those championship habits. So yeah, I mean the summer guys, it started with the COVID shutdown. So
yeah.
during that time, it was like, man, we're going to have these kids all summer. And then because of the results that we got, it was like, even the kids were like, I love my family,
And since
but I
since
need to make
since
these
y'all
games.
were always together, y'all were able to get in the gym, huh?
Yeah, for the most part,
Yeah,
because they're all in the same house.
yeah.
We didn't miss a beat, man. We really didn't miss a beat.
I feel like that was the best time for basketball in DFW.
It
I mean,
was.
there
It
was there was
was.
an event going every week.
It was a huge advantage. That actually led to Geronimo, who's also playing at Columbia, because
Hmm.
California shut down. He was going to school in California, and he ended up joining us because of the advantages that we had over that situation that he was in over in California. So definitely made some huge gains there, 100%.
Yeah,
Weight room especially, weight room especially because there was a lot of basketball, but there was a point where it did like everybody shut down, and in that
yeah,
time we really were able to get into the weight room and get things done from that standpoint. So we even played some backyard football. We taught these kids from all over the world how to throw a football. We played 7-on-7, um,
yeah,
just to change it up. You do have to change it up. We did talk about how important it was to build like the balanced athlete and to not be basketball for 12 months, just the drain of what that is. A and then
yeah,
B, also you learn fast twitch. Like a lot of the kids from other countries lack the fast twitch that the American game is the fastest game. I mean, it is what it is.
yeah.
So for them to play a little bit of football helped in that area of defending and first step and all that stuff. So, you
You
know,
got some soccer players over there?
oh yeah, yeah, big time, big time. They're watching the World Cup. They're following the World
Yeah.
Cup. So, uh,
Yeah.
you got these kids are a lot of the kids that are from Africa now. They're rooting for Morocco, neighbors
Yep.
Algeria as well. So I'm also rooting for
Yeah.
them as well. I'm not a big soccer fan, but I love to see upsets in sports, and I like
Man,
to
there's been a
root for
lot
the
of them.
underdog. The underdog story, no matter what game it is
There's
always
been a
going to
lot
draw
of
my
them this
attention.
year.
So,
Yeah.
so there's been a lot of that.
So as we close this out, man, um, the last thing I wanted you to talk about was a bucket and a dream. Is that what's going to be replacing TRT?
Yeah. So basically, it is replacing it, but I would say in a way. So TRT is really still involved, heavily involved in certain areas of support. Um, I would say that it is the acting organization that will gather the necessary sponsorship funding to continue the platform as it is.
Yeah.
So the reason why I don't want to simplify it is because TRT was a company and it didn't like it solely did it by itself.
Yep.
So Bucket in a Dream is the platform which makes sure that we have the sponsorships needed through several different sources. So TRT was one source. It was one support system. It did everything. And Bucket in a Dream is partnering. We're partnering and getting support from all different types of sources to get our program the support that it needs to run at the same or better.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, sir. So
So
same
when
idea,
we
same
see you during
concept.
the summer, so like when we see you during the summer, is it going to be a bucket and a dream?
So our summer plans are going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
I actually plan on, in terms of competitive spring and summer basketball, I don't plan on putting Bucket in a Dream as that platform. I more so am using the Bucket in a Dream for the support system uh,
Okay.
that supports Spring Creek Academy all year round still. But I would like for our guys to get on spring and summer programs in the area.
Yeah.
There's benefit to that too. Although it was beneficial the way we had it, there is some
Uh huh.
benefit to having our kids prove that they can be coached by somebody else. They can play, somewhere else, and
See how
I
they play with other kids.
I think that's important. Yeah, see how they play with other
Yeah.
kids and
Yeah.
uh, be a sponge in another environment. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to step out of. I don't want to ever give the idea that they can only play for one type of system. We we
Yeah.
we we teach our kids a lot of different stuff so that they can play with all types of different variables. So I want to make
Hmm.
sure that they have this chance in the spring and summer to do so. Plus, they probably get sick of my voice at some point, right? So, we spend a lot of time together. We spend a lot of
Yeah.
time together, man. We eat
Yeah.
meals together. So outside of the gym, I'm almost like a guardian. So I'm not. I don't
Yeah.
just play the role of coach for 2 hours. It's a 24/7 gig, and I think it's healthy for them to get a little bit of a different voice and then that way they can come back and we have a rejuvenated kid and sometimes they learn some things and
Hmm.
that helps that helps as well.
Yeah. Coach, I appreciate it, man. This
Appreciate
was
you.
this was way better than last time.
Yeah, it
This is
was
way better than
it
last
was
time. I appreciate you taking time out of your night.
Appreciate you, man.
Um,
Appreciate you.
I'll see you Wednesday, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw the rest of the schedule, man. Enjoy those games. You're covering a lot of good games, so we appreciate that, man. Have a good one.
Thank you, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Take care.